inside a well, life can get tangled. Might the money. Might the money. Might the money. I'm making money, Mike the.
You're now tuned in to the Mic'd Up Money Radio Show, where faith meets finance and real talk fuels your comeback. This isn't hype, it's healing. This isn't theory, it's transformation. If you're building a brand, a vision, or trying to get back on your feet, this show is your reset button. Welcome to the table where entrepreneurs talk money with clarity, courage, and conviction. Let's get mic'd up.
This podcast or broadcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, tax, or professional advice. Always consult a licensed professional for specific advice related to your situation. Thank you. Hello, this is Ephraim Simmons from Mic'd Up Money. I'm the business strategist. Today we're going to have a solo podcast and broadcast. I'm going to be talking about the concept of strategic hustling. Strategic hustling is a concept that I trademark, talking about how to use systems, science, and strategies to promote your business. As I work for a state agency for over 9 years, I conducted a taxpayer workshop. And one of the key things I observed is that business owners and entrepreneurs could not properly articulate what made them special. Yes, when I asked that question, they would tell me the services they performed, the products they sold, but they could not tell me what made them special. And a lot of people are confusing motion with progress, noise with strategy, and effort with value. With strategic hustling, it's not random hustle. It's not panic asking, nor is it polished confusion. Science is what is true. Strategy to choose what matters, and systems to make it repeatable. Do not just hustle, strategically hustle. This episode is going to tell you how to position yourself to be a better hustler. So let's get started. Most people don't have a money problem first. They have a clarity problem. Let's start with the hard truth. Most people cannot properly tell you what they are, what makes them different, what the offer is, and why somebody should be moved to do business with them. They get overlooked, underpaid, delayed, ghosted, and compared to the cheapest option on the list and call it a money issue. No, it's not a money issue first. It's a messaging issue, a meaning issue, a positioning issue, or a systems issue. This is why strategic hustling matters. We need to define the term correctly and clearly. Strategic hustling is the disciplined way to get money, movement, and measurable results by using science, strategy, and systems together. Science tells you what is true. Strategy tells you what to do. Systems make it repeatable. This is not motivational fluff. This is how you stop leaking value through confusion. The source concept was born from repeatedly seeing owners describe what they sold but fail to explain what made them unique. If you cannot define your uniqueness, the market will flatten you into just another option. Number 2, the clarity is money. The market is not reading your heart. The market is not reading your signal. It's not reading whether you sound clear, credible, unique, relevant, or safe enough to choose. If people have to work too hard to understand you, most of them will not do the work. They postpone, compare you to something simpler, or just annoy you altogether. This is why clarity is not cosmetic. Clarity is economic. Number 3, most people get underpaid. A lot of people cannot get paid because they lack value. They cannot talk value. They cannot message value. They just don't know what value is. Their message is crowded, is vague, is undefined, is weak, and the follow-up is inconsistent. This is why clear business outperform talented business, not because they are better, but because they are easier to believe. Number 4, why this matters across 4 lanes. This hits Stardust because founders often know the idea but cannot translate the value. It hits overwhelmed owners because internal chaos leaks into public communication. It hits nonprofits because mission alone does not close a funding gap. It hits campaigns because name recognition without issue residence is just noise in a nicer suit. So before we talk tactics, let's lock into definition, because most of you miss a definition and it sounds like a bunch of nice words shaking hands. Now, once you understand the definition, the next question is obvious. Why does clarity matter so much? Because clarity is not cosmetic. Clarity is economic. And if you were to extract this from business theory, let me break it all the way down for you. A lot of times people just don't know what to do? I'm offering some tools on this segment. If you just say, give me the tools and give me an email address or hit the link, we will show you the tools so you can do it. Is the feature tools is the one-page strategic hustling brand brief, is how to market and advertise. Let's understand what's happening here. Most people do not have a money problem first, they have a clarity problem. If you can't explain why you're special, the market will explain you downward. A blurry business pays extra just to be misunderstood at scale. The market does not reward effort alone, it rewards perceived value. Let's go to episode number 2, Science, Strategy, and System. Why hustle without structure stays broke. Some people are not losing because they're lazy. They're losing because they're noisy. They're busy, not directional, active, not strategic, hopeful, but not structured, and moving, but not measuring. If your hustle has no science, no strategy, no systems, what you call hard work may be just expensive motion. Let's look at the science of it. Science has patterns that are predictable, objections, audience behavior, timing, resonance, and reality. It asks the question, why are people actually responding to? What are people actually responding to? What wording reduces hesitation? What offer gets ignored? What assumption is wrong? Science is what keeps you from building your business on your favorite lie. Strategy. Strategy tells you what to do and with what is true. It is a choice. What problem do we solve best? What audience do we target first? What message leads and what do you stop doing? Strategy is not doing everything. Strategy is doing what matters most in the right order. System. Systems keep your business from depending on memory, mood, and miracles. They make your messaging consistent. You follow up reliable, your customer journey cleaner, and your ads stronger. If you get good results once, that's nice. If you can repeat it on purpose, that's a system. Why all three are necessary. If you have science without strategy, you collect insight and do nothing. If you have strategy without systems, you make smart decisions and fail to repeat them. If you have systems without science, you automate weak thinking. Strategic hustling requires all three working together. So let's start with the first piece, because a lot of people are guessing proudly and calling it leadership. Once you know what's true, the next problem is deciding what to do with. This is where strategy stops you from drowning in your own options. And here is what most good ideas go to die. No repeatable process, no rhythm, no system, no stability. We have a tool called the PLAN, Plan Worksheet, and it talks about your positioning, language, audience, and nurture path. So I recommend you get that tool because it helps you to clarify the systems that you need, the strategy you need, and the science that you need to make your business work. Stop guessing so proudly. Activity makes you tired. Strategy makes you dangerous. If your process lives only in your head, your income lives in danger. Hope is a hymn. Business needs a system. While Teddy, DeBarge, and Joe can teach you about sales, let me show you how grown folks' music can teach modern business owners how to sell. Teddy has a song that says, "Come Go With Me." DeBarge gives us "Stay With Me," and Joe gives you "If I Were Your Man." 3 songs, 3 persuasion problems, 1 strategic hustle lesson. Number 1, Come Go With Me. It deals with movement, objections, and customer preference. Come Go With Me is a movement language, but people do not move because you ask. They move because their hesitation got answered. That means your job is not just to invite movement. Your job is to remove resistance. Resistance shows up as pricing, timing, fit, trust, convenience, uncertainty, or preference. The objection is not disrespect. The objection is information. It tells you what the fear is and what the doubt is and where the proof is too thin. The song Stay With Me captures clarity, proof, and retention. Stay with me is what happens after someone says yes. A lot of business know how to attract, but they do not know how to affirm. They stop explaining value, stop reinforcing the promise, stop showing proof, and then act shocked when customers drift. Customers drift when your value becomes blurry. Clarity plus proof is what keeps commitment strong. If I Was Your Man deals with contrast, future visualization, and FOMO. If I Was Your Man is a constant play. It says, imagine what life will feel like if you choose different. People do not just buy products. They imagine future, better treatment, less frustration, more profit, more speed, more peace. Real FOMO is not
fake pressure. It is helping someone see the cost of staying where they are. Now let's tie it back together with strategic hustling. Strategic hustling uses all three persuasion moves. It removes resistance, keeps value clear, and paints a future worth moving forward. This is why this episode works so well. It turns culture into a memory device for better sales thinking. So with Teddy, no one moves until resistance gets handled. You can talk all day, use a lot of language, but if people don't feel it, they just don't feel it. Now, once you get to yes, the real question becomes, can you keep the yes? And now here's the third level. What happens when you want somebody to leave the familiar and believe a better future is possible with you? The feature two that we have here is the hard versus the what is in it for me worksheet, the WIIFM sheet. It has the objection map, the message clarity, and the proof builder. So 3 persuasion problems, 1 strategic hustling lesson. The objection is not the enemy. The objection is the map. Clarity tells people what to believe. Facts give them permission to believe it. People do not just buy products, they buy imagined futures. FOMO works when staying put starts to feel more expensive than moving. Let's get into this next segment about behavior economics. Is it insight or abuse? The thing that is so funny to me about shopping, I might have an intent to shop, but if I get a coupon, I'm going to go ahead and spend that money. But a lot about the coupons, the terms of the coupons may be so, I guess, not effective, because if I only needed to spend $30, but I need to spend $80 to use the coupon to get it down to $60 or $65, I have overspent what I really needed to do. But a coupon is a tool that people use to get people to do something that they do not want or need to do. And the same psychology that helps people make smart decisions can be used to trap them into stupid ones. If I meant to spend $50, less than $50, but I end up spending $65, $70, I have not done a smart thing for myself, because they made me overbuy. And that's what coupons do to some people, because of the terms and conditions to use the coupon. And that's why everybody teaching persuasion is not safe. Some people use insight to reduce confusion. Other people use the same tools to manufacture pressure. And if your marketing tool best works when people are confused, your marketing is dirty. Why behavior economics matter? People do not decide like calculators. They fear loss, follow defaults, respond to frames, urgency, proof, contrast, and identity clues. This is normal human behavior. Strategic hustling uses that knowledge to make smart action easier. We like to use this for ethical uses. Scarcity is ethical when it's real. Urgency is ethical when the deadline is real. Anchoring is used when it clarifies the cost of a problem before the price of the solution. Social proof is ethical when it is honest. Framing is ethical when it makes the truth easier to understand. But people use abusive tactics like fake countdown, fake wait lists, fake social proof. Yeah, they have no box saying they bought the product and they just bots. Fear selling, shame selling, sticky subscription, hidden renewals, and dark defaults. This is not strategic. This is manipulation with nice fonts. And this is the thing that we need to consider. Is it true? Does it reduce confusion? Does it help the buyer act in their own interest? Would I explain it openly? The strongest line on the sheet is this: reduce friction, not informed consent. If it works better in the dark, do not use it. Because we start admiring persuasion tools, let's make sure we know what separates influence from abuse. We'll start with the clean side first, because these tools are not evil by themselves. But now let's walk into the dark room, because this is where a lot of marketing stops serving people and starts steering them. What I have today is a behavior economics cheat sheet. And we're going to pair that with the hard versus the WIIFM persuasion sheet to just make sure that you're offering things that are ethical. But remember, when you make your offer, you want to reduce friction, not informed consent. You know, right now they have a lawsuit against a social media influencer because she promised to make people millionaires and give them 6-figure lifestyles like she has. But the results was people made less than $3,000 to $5,000. And, you know, It's easy to blame them for being lazy. It's easy to blame them for not being motivated. But the problem is, if the true product or service you're selling does not sell itself, but it needs a lot of help and effort and persuasion and maybe deception for it to sell, then you're not selling something that's ethical. So remember, if it works better in the dark, do not use it. And fake urgency is not strategy. If you're going out of business, because they have some stores that go out of business all the time. That's why they had passed a law that says that if you're going out of business within so many days, you have to be out of business. But I heard if you go places like New York or somewhere like that, they have places that's saying that they're going out of business because they make you believe that you're getting the best price for that particular product, but that's not true. Going out of business is going out of business, and they just deceive you. And then you need to see what a strong ass invites action. A manipulative ass corners emotion. If your marketing works best when people are confused, your marketing is dirty. This segment, the ass is not begging, it's strategic translation. Let me open this up by saying you should not be begging when you ask. You know, people can detect when people are desperate. And when people are desperate, they do not want to do business with you. It's just plain and simple because they just feel that something's off. But if the process is helping the right people understand the value, trust the path, and see what action makes this sense right now. Now, this sounds good for startups because startups need that translation. Well, they usually cannot explain the problem, the promise, and the path clearly enough so a stranger can repeat it. If not, the idea is still trapped in your head. Overwhelmed owners need strategic hustling too because they need structure. Internal chaos leaks into public communication. Customers do not buy your service, they buy what they think dealing with you feels like. If your stuff is not together, it's just not together. Nonprofits, just because you have a nonprofit, you need to show people the problem, the impact, the path, and the accountability. A lot of times people want to have a nonprofit, but they don't want to show accountability. It's just like in California, they spend billions of dollars on homelessness and giving that money to nonprofits, but no one has been able to stop the increasing homelessness that's going on in California. Same thing about they raised all their money for the fire that happened in California. But still, hardly no one has rebuilt their homes. And they gave the money to the nonprofits and they cannot tell you what happened to that money. And you have to have something that's designed. The ask has to be designed for receptiveness and response and not just an emotional reaction. Campaigns cannot just go on name recognition only. People lose campaigns because they don't have an issue that resonates and uses clear language so that they can see what is going on. I know in my experience, I worked in Memphis City School System, and there was someone who was working there who decided to run for public office. And I gave him this advice as a business consultant, meaning that I looked at the situation that was going on and I recognized that he did not have proper name recognition because in Memphis and Shelby County, the same people keep running for different offices. And so people know their name and some people continue to vote for them, especially if they have a ballot with their name on. But I told him he needed to have a issue, a grassroots issue that people could identify. And he found that issue and he won. And a lot of times with campaigns, a lot of people do not have an issue. They just want to run for it. And if you give them a little time on the mic, they still don't have the issue that resonates with the community. And that's why some of them cannot win. And the people who are winning by grassroots methods are demonstrating and showing people that I have something that you are concerned about. Remember, the concern always is what's in it for me. I may like you as a person, but I may not want to vote for you as a politician because you're not, what you going to do? You can't clearly tell me what you're doing and you can't clearly demonstrate how you're going to do it. So how can I trust you to do it? We're going to start a new segment and we're going to talk about blurry does not sell. Clarity gets paid. Good is not special. And you have to have the systems, the science, and the strategy to make it happen. If you can explain why you matter, the market will treat you like a commodity. If the market treats you like a commodity, it will pressure your price. If your price gets pressured, your peace gets pressured. And then you're starting calling it a money problem when the problem started much earlier. That's the logic. Confusion slows decision. Confusion weakens trust. Confusion makes people postpone. And postponed decisions kill cash flow just as dead as bad expenses do. So today I want to talk to you about strategic hustling. Not fake hustling, not loud hustling, not Instagram hustling, strategic hustling. The kind that gets money using science, strategy, and system. The kind that understands human behavior. The kind that understands that being good is not enough if you cannot make your goodness legible. Because here is another hard line. If you cannot explain why you are special, your customer will explain your downward. They will put you into the same bucket with everybody else. They will compare you in price. They will hesitate, delay, ghost, and then you will call them cheap when the truth is you were unclear. This is what we're going to fix. Because most people think articulation is small, it is not small. Articulation is commercialization. If I cannot articulate your value, I cannot advocate for you. If I cannot advocate for you, I cannot refer you. If I cannot refer you, your growth slows down. If your growth slows down, pressure increases. And under pressure, people start making ugly decisions. They discount too fast, they promise, they take bad fit clients, they chase every opportunity, they lose focus, they burn out, and then they say business is hard. No, business is hard, yes, but blurry business is harder. So many owners can recite their own service list like a menu. We do taxes, we do consulting, we do coaching, we do events, we do marketing, we do financial services, we do training. Fine, so do other people. Your product category is not your uniqueness. Let me say that again because some people need to sit down in their chest. What you do is not automatically why you win. People do not buy categories, they buy confidence, they buy relevance, they buy reduction of uncertainty, they buy stories, they make them feel smart about choosing you. This is why the inability to state a USP is not the cute branding issue, it's a revenue leak. Behaviorally, people use shortcuts. They do not examine every business with laboratory patience. They use mental heuristics. Did I get this? Does this sound credible? Does this feel for people like me? Is this difference enough to remember? Does this reduce risk or add risk? And if your answer is mushy, their answer is no. This is why I say people do not ignore unclear business because they hate them. They ignore them because unclear choices feel unsafe. When people are uncertain, they default to the known. This is status quo bias. When people fear making a bad choice, they often make no choice. This is loss aversion. When too many people sound alike, people grab the simplest signal left. They use price, proximity, familiarity, and brand recognition. So if you're not clear, not distinct, are not mentally sticky, you are volunteering to be compared on weaker terms. This is bad business. This is why strategic hustling matters. Because strategic hustling says stop just working hard and stop reducing the friction between your value and someone else's decision. This is smarter. This is more profitable. This is more peaceful. Because a lot of people think marketing is posting. They think marketing is flyers. They think marketing is logos. They think marketing is running ads. They think marketing is going live on every now and then. Then they think marketing is printing cards and hoping the Lord touches somebody. No, advertising is one expression. Marketing is the architecture. Marketing is the decision environment you create around your offer. Marketing is what people hear first, what they remember next, what problem they think you solve, what category they place you in, what emotions get attached to your name, what proof surrounds your promise, and what assumptions they carry before they ever contact you. Advertising can amplify, but if the underlying message is weak, advertising just pays to spread confusion faster. This is like putting cologne on bad decisions. Now, here's where behavior economics walks in with steel-toed boot. People do not buy in a vacuum. They buy in a context. The frame matters, the order matters, the language matters, the contrast matters, the number of options matter, The default assumptions matter. So when I say marketing is not advertising, I mean this. Marketing is how you shape interpretation before the transaction. This is why a business can be skilled and still underperform, because skill without framing gets undervalued. And this is why some average businesses make more money than talented businesses. Not because average is better, because average package clearly beats excellence packaged poorly. That hurts feelings, but it pays bills. Advertising gets attention, marketing gets interpretation. If your message is weak, ads become a megaphone for confusion. A blurry business pays extra just to be misunderstood at scale. The business cannot reward value it cannot recognize. People do not buy the best offer, they buy the clearest, believable offer. Now let's go deep. A lot of people are not under earning because they lack value. They are under earning because they are forcing the audience to do the strategic work for them. The audience should not have to figure out why you matter, who you are for, how you are different, what problem you solve best, why now, and what to do next. That is your job. And if you do not do your job, the market would do what markets do: simplify, flatten you, and compare you cheap. This is not injustice. This is cognitive efficiency. Science means we stop guessing so proud. Science means observation. Science means product patterns. Science means testing. The market is not your auntie. It will not fund your dream out of politeness. Founders fall in love with originality. Buyers fall in love with clarity. If using you sounds complicated, people assume paying you will be painful. A startup dies early when the founder confuses explanation with persuasion. Your idea is not ready until a stranger can repeat it clearly. Overall owners are not often failing lazy. They are failing from decision fatigue. Too many fires, too many inputs, too many half-finished systems. Too many offers, too many conversations, too many silent leads. When the mind gets crowded, the message gets sloppy. And when the message gets sloppy, the business starts losing energy in public. Offers become inconsistent. Follow-up becomes late. Brand voice becomes unstable. Pricing becomes emotional. Discounting becomes impulsive. Boundaries get weak. The business starts communicating its internal chaos to the outside world. You may think customers cannot feel that, but they can. Not always consciously, but they feel friction, delay, uncertainty, and instability. That changes buying behavior, because buyers are not just buying the service, they are buying the anticipated experiences of dealing with you. That matters, because people often give when the given experience helps them feel effective, aligned, helpful, wise, connected, and part of a meaningful story. They do not just fund pain, they fund intelligent hope. So the ask is designed. What story is told? What problem is framed? What number is attached? What outcome is visible? What social proof is included? What recognition or feedback loop assists? What happens after the gift? This is not manipulation. This is reducing friction around generosity. Good fundraising reduces donor uncertainty. Bad fundraising increases donor uncertainty and ties to overpowering it with urgency. People do not just give to need, they give to trusted stewardship. Need without design creates sympathy. Design creates response. The ask is not begging, the ask is strategic translation. Donors do not fund confusion well. A nonprofit with a weak ask keeps trying to harvest where it never planted trust. Campaigns often confuse visibility with persuasion. People knowing your name is not the same as people attaching hope, trust, or relevance to your name. A loud campaign is not always a persuasive campaign. A familiar candidate is not always a compelling candidate. Voters filter messages through personal priority, identity, fear, aspiration, group cues, and issue salient. So the real question is not, what do I want to say? The real question is, what are people actually using to decide? This is where focus groups matter. This is where language discipline matters. This is where issue resonance matters. A campaign fails when it campaigns on its own mirror instead of the voter's mind. This is why correct language matters. Language tells voters whether you understand their pain, whether you share their priorities, and whether you can carry the issue with seriousness. And when language misses, candidates think the public is stupid. No, the message is weak. Name recognition can introduce you. It cannot rescue weak relevance. A loud campaign can still be a confusing campaign. Candidates lose when their campaign is in their own mirror instead of the voter's mind. Correct issues create traction. Correct language converts traction into trust. Politics is not just airtime. It is issue alignment under public pressure. Because a lack of talented people do not lack desire. They lack breed. They have hunger without sequence, vision without method, energy without architecture, goodness without packaging, potential without mechanism. This is why so many people stay frustrated. They are not completely wrong. They are incompletely structured. And incomplete structure is expensive. So here's the close. Strategic hustling is not random effort. It is not desperation. It is not noise. It is not calling motion progress. It is using science to understand what is true, strategy to choose what matters most, and systems to repeat what works. This is the very definition. Most people do not have a money problem first. They have a clarity problem that created a money problem. If you cannot explain why you are special, the market will explain you down. The market does not reward effort. It rewards perceived value. People do not buy the best offer. They buy the clearest, believable offer. Advertising gets attention. Marketing gets interpretation. A blurry business pays extra just to be misunderstood at scale. Stop guessing so proudly. Activity makes you tired. Strategy makes you dangerous. If your process lives only in your head, your income lives in danger. Founders fall in love with originality. Buyers fall in love with clarity. The market is not your auntie. It will not fund your dream out of politeness. Internal chaos leaks into public communication. Peace is not a luxury for business owners. Peace is a performance asset. The ask is not begging. The ask is strategic translation. Donors do not fund confusion well. Name recognition can introduce you. It cannot rescue weak reverence. Candidates lose when they campaign in their own mirror instead of the voter's mind. You are not always underpaid because you lack value. Sometimes you're underpaid because your value is hard to read. Good is common, clear and credible is rare. Do not call it a money problem if you have not first audited your clarity problem. This is Ephraim Simmons closing out on Mic'd Up Money. Please download and hit like on the clips. Put your information saying you want these tools and click on the things to get the tools, because we really want you to understand strategic hustling. And a lot of times I'm finding that people go out of business because they just don't know how business actually works. They get into a particular situation. You know, I have many war stories talking about people who are not being able to translate what they really want and what they really need into something that's meaningful. But we want you to get the tools this week with Mic'd Up Money. We want you to like and share the clips. We want you to download the tool. And if you have any questions, we want you to give us some feedback on our website, mic'dupmoney.com. That's MICDUPMONEY.com. We want you to share and like it and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap for this week on Mic'd Up Money. Don't forget to grab your free tools at mic'dupmoney.com. Follow us at Mic'd Up Money on all social platforms and keep taking your next right money move. Until next time, stay reset, stay ready, and stay mic'd up.
Mic'd Up Money, let's go.